My people, today we expand on the Dulaman. We asked everybody to submit lore to add a little bit more Dulaman spice. Mason Mart Tabloids writes, the Dulaman, pronounced Dulaman, that's hard to say. The Dulaman culture, or Dulaman culture, that's going to be hard to get used to. The Dulaman culture, damn it, includes a dance known as the Morsha, a ritual performed at the start of every month to honor the dead. It is believed in their culture that a being does not die until every ripple they have ever made in the world stops. For this reason, Dulaman homes are often covered in things created by friends and family who in turn do the same. Aw, that's deep. This lore brings a sentimental aspect to a race that I felt seemed pretty rough around the edges. We're seeing this race come to life right before our eyes. Sheer tops, a subculture of the Dulaman believed to be the oldest within the original nation. A group of small shepherds and farmers' leadership was done through the bond of an elected mayor and head witch. The witches of this culture are in fact doctors and midwives trained from young childhood to keep the health of the community stable. In the modern era, Sheertops continue to raise animals anywhere in the city they can, and the witches have established a college. The College of Dulaman Witches. That sounds very, very interesting. Thank you, Mason Mart Tabloids. All right, Jacob Bastian adds, ferocious spirit. The Dulaman spirit is one known for its tenacity. Where other peoples would bend or break from the sheer adversity placed against them, the Dulaman's drive and sheer force of will can often carry them to victory against whatever adversity they face. See, I thought that's what made Jacob Bastian so special, but I guess that's a common thing? You mean to tell me there's a more handsome and sober Jacob with a full head of hair out there? All right, devout worshippers. The Dulaman people nearly all follow the faith of the elder existence. They are raised since early childhood to follow the teachings of these gods. Many believe this near fanatical devotion to their gods has granted the Dulaman people a resistance to magics. While not outright immunity, it is enough to resist the effect of many magics for quite some time. I added the part about I added many believe, and I appreciate the last part, and as an attempt to make that buff, the magic resistance, to make that buff a reasonable one. But we're not going to give anything that heavy for free to a race, and you know how I do though. If the Dulaman finds himself in a kerfuffle with the magic caster and wins his role, who's to say it wasn't due to the fabled magic resistance if he's a devout believer? You know what I mean? So, it's definitely a detail it could still be a detail, but it's not going to be like, it's gonna be like fabled. It's gonna be like not proven. What do you call that? A Dulaman tale? I don't know. I'd sooner entertain that particular detail for a character who is 100%, about that elder existence life, or just any faith. Dulaman smugglers. When the black market was shut down by anarchy, this made little difference to the Dulaman smugglers of the Blood Cobble district. They have had centuries of experience avoiding all kinds of authorities to bring in the exotic ingredients necessary for many of the district's famous exotic liquors, along with other goods they could sell on the streets of Haven, like weapons or illegal technology. Best of friends, worst of enemies. This is still Jacob. Dulaman are known for having a dual nature about them. If you are their friend, they would gladly fight alongside you in the worst of scenarios with a smile on their face, bragging about how it's good that you two are horribly outnumbered, otherwise it would not be a fair fight. If you are their enemy, they will fight you to the bitter end, and when you lay at their feet battered and bruised, they will have a much more vicious smile on their face as they put you out of your misery. That's some really specific lore for such a large group, for such a large demographic. Could you imagine a whole race being known for saying a specific thing? Like, look, I'm not trying to be racist, but is it true that Dulaman brag about how it's good that they are horribly outnumbered, otherwise it would be a fair fight? The part about them putting their enemies out of their misery with a smile leads me to believe that most Dulaman aren't entirely benevolent. That's some chaotic neutral shit right there, you know? So, Jacob, are you saying that majority of the Dulaman, and we'll say the majority in case there are any outliers there, but are we going to say that the majority of the Dulaman are the type of people who are really, really cold to their enemies and really, really loyal to their companions? Kings of the Brew. The Dulaman brewing culture is famous for having created many grand elixirs, such as Thunder Vodka, the vodka that feels like you're swallowing a thunderstorm and tastes like it too. Alever's Tears, I think is how it's pronounced. Alever's Tears, the most expensive wine in the world, said to have had healing properties and named after the elder existence goddess of mercy and medicine. And of course, the now infamous Dulaman Fire Whiskey, which supposedly tastes like the fires of the war god. All this alcoholic consumption has, over the centuries, given the Dulaman people extraordinarily strong lives, making them immune to most poisons, allegedly, but scientifically unproven. And I added that last part as well, because we don't want to give any free abilities, but I do want to base a keyword off of this. The keyword being leisure. Leisure. And when I say this, I'm talking about the part about them being kings of the brew. With this keyword, Dulaman know how to enjoy themselves and make the most of their free time, whether it's because of the brew or just the festivities. If it involves leisure, the Dulaman do it like no other. See, there's fun, and then there's Dulaman fun, okay? So, Kings of the Brew, first keyword is leisure. Subrace. Jacob submits the subrace Mental Jinn. The Mental Jinn are a subrace that split off from the rest of the Dulaman around 500 years ago. While not all that genetically different, they have a considerably different culture, as they tend to be more quiet and withdrawn than their cousins and have a more refined taste for food and life in general compared to their Dulaman cousins. They often turn their noses up at them, but have been caught admitting from time to time that they admire their cousins' drive to survive. All right, well, there's one subrace down. Dennis Bateman, a highly skilled spy who saved Haven Guard from complete destruction, is a Mental Jinn himself, the first Mental Jinn. Hey, speaking of Dennis, is he working for Atlas still, or is he working for Haven Guard or anyone? He's a mystery. Does anybody know? Has he confirmed this in the Discord chat? I don't know. All right. B submits. The Dulaman's feet are tougher than most other races. If not for the broken glass, it wouldn't take long for them to get comfortable walking around barefoot. They also tend to be a bit better at jumping, and there are some traditional dishes that involve seaweed in their culture. Thank you for those facts. Some nice, classic, simple facts. good old, like the good old ones, the good old facts. Like their feet being tougher. I like stuff like that. Not their feet, but I'm saying like, you know, facts that are just about something really, really random. Like, hey, I never knew that. Like some shit you would open up inside of like a fortune cookie. Like, hey, well, what do you know about that? Their feet are tougher. Never knew that till this fortune cookie. Another sub race was submitted by B, and that sub race, and I hope I pronounced this right. I believe it's Q-O-W. It's Q-O-W. So I believe that's Co, or can't be. I mean, unless it's Quo. Maybe you could put the pronunciation in the comment section, just so I'm not butchering the word. But I'm gonna wager that it is Co, the Co Dulaman, Q-O-W. Co Dulaman tend to have much shorter hair, notably pale eyes, and are generally a bit shorter. They're able to activate their diving reflex more easily than most people, allowing them to stay underwater for far longer. All air-breathing vertebrates have this, but for many, it can take longer to become useful or even really there. Okay, so they're a bit shorter, which is still pretty tall as a Dulaman. You know, a Dulaman, they have noteworthy height to them. And I like how the Dulaman seemingly evolved differently. Perhaps the instigator wanted to observe how a sea-prone Dulaman compares to a dehydrated Dulaman, like the ones that we all come to know. But hey, B, is it Co? Is that how you pronounce that? All right, Squid Baron's in the house. The Squid Baron dropped some lore on us, some nice facts. Lamb is a popular centerpiece of most Dulaman cooking, but isn't usually very easy to get in Haven. Hey, look, we don't have ducks yet, but lamb's confirmed. For that reason, a number of Dulaman run rooftop farms with sheep of their own. Oh, there go sheep. Got sheep too. There has led to the breeding of a unique variety of micro sheep, the size of small dogs, which are popular house pets. The typical Dulaman religion is the faith of the Manifold, which is a collection of countless saints whose exploits are recorded in the Tome of Ahriman. This book can usually be gotten for cheap anywhere in Haven. Every family has at least one patron saint, which it pays reverence to through prayer or offerings, and convert to the faith inherit the patron saints of whoever converted them. Converts to the faith All right, the typical Dulaman religion is the faith of the Manifold. So this race now has two religions, the Elder Existence and the Manifold. Of course, we can combine these two, but, you know, let's have two of them. And I think I much rather, you know, kind of reward Squid Baron and Jacob for submitting lore for religion, because that's not easy, right? So we'll let them elaborate on what each of these religions entail, giving them some exclusivity, you know, sealed and permanent. So whatever you two come up with for your own religion, like this is going to be the religion for this race. And only you two will be able to build or you know, pretty much create that. But you have a nice little start here. I believe Jacob submitted something about the Elder Existence. I've seen him mention it a few times, but I also could be getting mixed up with R-Type X, because I know R-Type X submitted some kind of religion for the Raylagarians that had something to do with elders. The elders, I believe. It was very Cthulhu-ish. But he's probably going to revamp that. All right, moving on. A knife is oftentimes a Dulaman's most prized possession, and few humiliations are as painful as having one's knife destroyed or stolen. Actually, trying to take someone else's knife in a fight will paint a target on your back. With the culture's long experience with street fighting, bar brawls, and especially the use of improvised weapons, all of which favor fighting as dirty as possible, it's often asked why no official Dulaman martial art exists. The answer is that numerous masters have tried to found them, but every time their students believed they knew a better version, they went off to form their own schools. There are thousands of usually pretty crappy Dulaman martial art dojos across Haven, none of which teach the same things, aside from the classic maxim of hit them wherever they aren't looking. That's good. I like that. Dulaman families aren't always the most tight-knit, but they do generally keep very good notes. A Dulaman is capable of finding some distant familial relation almost anywhere in Haven. You're my uncle's cousin's daughter's husband's older brother. We're practically brother and sister. I like that. He wrote that. I like that. I really like this one. This one's going to inspire the next keyword, relation. Relation. This word will, can be interpreted in so many ways that it should help Dulaman players socially and passively when they're role-playing as their character. Dulaman are often associated with con artists, and this stereotype originates with a famous Dulaman named Willem Canola. Canola became one of Haven's richest men through fraud, treachery, and his invention known as the Canola Scheme, what we on Earth call a Ponzi scheme. He once sold the Angel Bridge to 15 different contractors, three of whom got it for the price of bus fare, and the ensuing legal battle eventually turned into an actual battle which blew the bridge up. Stories like this are why Dulaman are often quick to pick up on schemes, traps, and other tricks of the sort. There aren't too many swindles that a Dulaman hasn't seen or heard before. Nah, Shay. That's a bunch of canola, man. You're selling me lies, eh? This is gonna inspire the third keyword, man. And it's gonna inspire it now, you hear? The third keyword is going to be scheme. This will help crafty Dulaman characters stay in the know. The word can be used to justify being privy to ulterior motives. Get creative with that. All right, and last but not least, the Vanguard. The Vanguard are a religious order which protected the Dulaman royal family in days long past, but who have been reborn in Haven as one of the stranger gangs to prowl its streets. Their members may go around collecting donations for charitable causes, working to build housing for those in need, or viciously dismembering those they deem heretical. These tend to be celebrities, rival gangsters, and unfortunate civilians who fail to conform to some aspect of their esoteric doctrine. Another clan, another cult, pretty much. They kind of remind me of Hope and a mix of Survey Day. More so Hope. They were like very, very hardcore, and they thought they were doing good, but they were doing bad. I like the idea of this faction and their ideals, but there was a part that was in there that said that they had great swords, and that was like the Vanguard's typical weapon, where these really long great swords, and some of them were plasma and they can extend. But because it's such a hard counter to the lore about the Dulaman's affinity for knives, it kind of ruins the knife thing that they had going on, at least in my eyes. But everything else rocks. So, Squid, if you wanna, maybe we can kind of tweak that. Typically, I try to make these things work, but the knife thing was really, really strong. But all right, that wraps up the lore for the Dulaman, and we are almost done. All I gotta do now is just go over what was submitted in that lore blowout video for the remaining races and districts. I may or may not even dive too heavy into the districts. There are a lot of districts. Besides, you're going to be able to see all the lore that was submitted that we chose because it's going somewhere, and you'll have access to that very soon. On the topic of lore, also, Try to, going forward, when you're submitting lore, try to make the lore submission more about the particular thing. Just starting to see a lot of lore that is turning into lore for several other things. We want the lore submissions, the lore entries to be, it'll be easier to manage lore submissions if the lore is mainly about one thing. All right. Thank you. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you like things like this. The flames are going to start coming down because we are wrapping up the expansion of the races. Again, just wanted you all to have a better sense of character when we open up character creation. I'm going to be available for any questions that you have during character creation. But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll get there. Everything that we're doing leading up to now is very important. And also, I have some things cooking in the background. So, hey, if you have any questions, reach out to me in the Discord, hit our Discord questions chat, jump into the Discord, meet some of the players because we're getting ready to approach the beginning of season 3. You want to make some friends. All right. Peace out.